You are listening to Loud on the Set with Kyle and James.
A level-headed movie critic meets a loudmouth movie cynic. And action!
All right, welcome back to the show. My name is Kyle.
This is James.
And today, James, what are we doing?
Movie news.
Movie news.
Kinda, right?
What is that?
That was the theme song to Movie News. Your
All right,
new
we got
nightly movie news program.
We got some guests.
Some guests. Aaron, Andrea, and Kira are all here in the studio. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
I don't really understand what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's good. Perfect place to start.
All right.
All we're going to do is talk about movies that we've seen recently. James and I, recently, inherently, realized that we're not going to be able to see all the movies that each other see all the time, right? Our tastes are different. You know, I have Netflix. You don't know what a television is.
Yeah, exactly.
So we just have to make things work sometimes. So we're going to do little short snippets where we're going to get more people involved so we can talk about other movies that we might not have complete commonality across the board.
There you go.
So without further ado, we're going to do some moderately rapid reviews here of recent movies that people have seen. And with that, what you watching?
Well, I know that Aaron has seen this movie, so we'll give Aaron and I a second. Justice League, Aaron.
Justice League.
Give me your thoughts.
Looked like shit. How was it? I didn't see it.
Bad. Better than Batman vs. Superman,
Easy to do.
but less interesting.
Hard to do. Fascinating.
Yeah, it was, if I had to do a quick review of it, it's from DC, way too little, way too late. They're clearly trying to do damage control at this point and course correct for all their mishandling of all the previous movies. And what they present is such a simple, stupid, just CGI mess that, like, yeah, of course it's not as bad as the other ones before it, but it's just such a desperate, like, you want to pat them on the head at this point, right? Like, okay, nice try. Like, okay, you're trying.
This one was directed by Zack Snyder again, right?
Kind of.
Kinda.
Kind of.
So Zack Snyder started to direct it.
Oh, he got fired, right?
He didn't get fired. This is the only time this will probably ever happen. He left the movie willingly because of a family issue.
Oh, that's right.
So it's exactly what you would expect a movie that is half made by Zack Snyder and half made by Joss Whedon to look like.
Ew,
What?
it's made by Joss
They
Whedon?
brought in the cesspool of Joss Whedon to clean
The
up?
Avengers guy.
Wow.
That's terrible.
And you can even tell which scenes were were filmed and whatnot by which of the two.
Oh my
The
God.
best part of it, too, is that Henry Cavill, the guy who plays Superman, which, spoilers apparently, Superman's in the movie again.
Get the fuck out of here.
I know, right?
He's back already, folks.
Yeah, I
They
swear,
shot
you're
the
gonna talk
original-
about the mustache thing, aren't you?
Yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
They shot the original scenes.
That's all I keep hearing about.
Henry Cavill goes off to do Mission Impossible 17. And then they're like, hold on, we need you back so that you can do some more scenes for reshoots. And the guys who are doing the Mission Impossible movie, they say, all right, that's fine. He's keeping the mustache he's got on. And they say, no, Superman doesn't have a mustache. That's not possible. It doesn't work. And they say, too bad.
So he was contractually obligated to keep his mustache, so they CG'd it out of every scene he was in?
Every scene that was a reshoot that he was in.
It's obvious when it yeah.
It's so I've heard a lot about it. It's not as terrible as everyone makes it out to be.
So
it looks bizarre.
This movie's so not interesting that we're talking about a CG'd mustache.
to give you a sense of the movie,
That's the only thing that's a talking point we have for this.
to give you a
I'm
sense of the
giving you
movie,
one more minute.
Batman is gathering superheroes for no particular reason.
Yeah.
A monster from space teleports in, and someone says, his name, and that's the introduction to the antagonist.
Classic.
They fight him once a little bit, and then they're just like, I guess we should try something different. They dig up Superman's corpse
Yep.
and reanimate it
Yep.
Who
What?
reanimates it?
with magic, a magic box.
One of the mother boxes. Don't worry about it.
Superman is
A mother
mildly
box.
angry and fights them for a second until he doesn't.
He's angry that he was brought back to life.
That's very
Sure.
Buffy-esque.
Because
He's
it's
just
not like
disoriented.
natural or something.
He's just
That's what happened when
disoriented.
Buffy was brought back to life.
Then
And Joss Whedon.
I'm sad I missed
they
it.
go and fight this alien who's in Russia. They never establish
Hulu.
where it is.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
They save a family of 3 people,
To find me.
and then Superman punches the bad guy
Repeatedly.
repeatedly
Still good.
until he goes to the moon, and then the movie's over.
Wow, I was gonna say I was just getting so bored of like listening to whatever you were describing.
Yeah.
Imagine sitting in a theater for 2 hours and watching it happen.
That sounds horrible.
Kyle, it's garbage. Let's move on.
What? How would you grade it?
Shocking.
D.
C+.
Ugh.
C plus. That's
It's
savagely.
it's passing, but
above
no one's
average.
happy about it.
That's depressing. Andrea, have you seen any movies recently?
I saw the newest Blade Runner.
Yeah, me too. Who else saw it?
I did.
I did.
You did.
I did not.
You're the only one that did.
Really?
Let's
I've
talk.
never seen the original.
Let's spoil everything about it.
Let's
Go ahead.
talk Blade Runner for a minute.
Go
then.
for it.
I liked it.
I too
was
liked it.
surprised that I liked it. I was expecting it to be bad and too flashy, but it was actually quite good.
Why'd you expect it to be bad?
Because it's a remake.
Wait.
Sequel.
Well,
there
same
was
difference.
a slow head turn into the revelation that was it's a remake. Duh face. There
Well,
was
I
this
thought it
thing.
was going to be a remake. I didn't know it was a sequel until I walked into it. And regardless, either or, it could still very well be bad. Most sequels are bad.
Had both of you seen
And
the,
it's been like 20
the
years.
original
Yes.
Yes.
before you saw it? Okay.
Multiple cuts.
Kira, you had not seen the original before we saw the new one, correct?
Correct.
So that was an interesting experiment for me because I love the original one. It's one of my favorite movies. So having seen it as a standalone film, what did you think of it? With no context.
With no context, I thought it was a really interesting story, and I thought it was well done, and it had tons of money, so it could be well done, huge following and everything. But then when we watched the original, I thought that was more impactful. I thought that was a stronger movie with just, I guess, for the time too, more of a more.
Revolutionary.
Thank you, revolutionary. Yeah, with the story.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I thought it was well done. Yeah.
The only thing that detracted for me from it was the linearity of the storyline. I feel like one of the coolest things about the original Blade Runner is that there's kind of like this foggy, artistic, like strange, non-linear kind of confusing narrative, like where you actually have to be paying attention and they just like show up someplace and you're like, wait, where are they now? Why the hell are these people there? And then through the context of listening to their dialogue and what's going on, then you start to understand more of what's happening with the story as it goes along. And this one just had too much of the classic script narration, basically. Like, now we shall walk over here. Should we go over there? Yes, let us move there with our feet to go there. Are we looking for something? Yes, what will we find? And that was bothersome to me. But
Well, so
Yeah, it was
you were
very much in the
you were
style- new
unhappy
style.
that the movie wasn't confusing and obtuse.
But I think that that's what makes the original Blade Runner so charming, is that it's very much an interpretation piece, but there is a super clear narrative when you piece it together and when you look at what it is. It makes...
I don't know that that's true.
I think it's absolutely true.
No, it's definitely one of those movies that you have to pay attention to actually get what's happening.
They don't
and
hand it
you
to you.
don't actually even need to know everything exactly to the detail. Well, I felt like this newer version is very much in the newer style that movies are made now.
Right.
Yeah.
And it had a lot of tie-backs, and especially with the visuals of the older one, but
This was like
It
a
was
police
different.
procedural as opposed to like a David Lynchian
yes.
police procedural, which would have been like
Yes.
Blade Runner, like a very strange art interpretation, visionary aspect.
Yeah.
The first like 12 minutes of Blade Runner are some strange synthesizer symphony flying through desolate, burned out Los Angeles with just like imagery and everything, you know? And that's all you get from that. And then this one tried to do that at different points too, but it just...
Well, that's the problem, is that the original Blade Runner is really hard to watch.
Can't wait till you to lend it to me, pal.
It's not that hard to watch. I think it's really lovely.
I think it's hard to understand the first
I don't
time
think it's
they
hard to
watch.
understand.
Well, which cut have you seen?
Well, I mean, I saw not the one with the voiceover, the one with the unicorn.
The director's cut.
Yeah.
But
But I mean, it's just like
the
there's
final
5 minutes of enhancing on things. There's just
What did
like,
you think was hard to watch about it?
The enhanced scene, I actually fell asleep during that part.
The enhanced scene?
Where he's got like the picture.
Oh,
You've
enhanced.
forgotten
yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
No. I thought you said a dance scene.
No, you did not.
Yeah, I did. And
I thought he said
enhanced
the ant
Oh,
scene.
enhanced
I'm like, what ant? There's
Do
no
I
ant that
mumble
gets
that
Oh my
enhanced.
god.
I saw a very different cut that was about dancing ants.
Yeah, the enhanced
I think
sequence is.
It was
is
actually
like,
just a Bug's Life that someone had scribbled in Blade Runner.
the enhanced sequence is your classic, noir piece where the dude is like just going about his business and is like giving up, and then he discovers something secret in something that he's just using to like occupy his time and his boredom and everything. So I think that those pieces are all necessary and they build character throughout. But we can disagree on this, and that's fine.
That's true.
What did you think of the old Blade Runner when you watched it after the new one?
I thought that there was just something more provocative about it, and that there was something creepier about it. It was just, I don't know. I liked it more.
The new one definitely felt slicker. It felt like a more modern movie.
Yeah, I wasn't very satisfied with the ending, but
More creative, something.
I like that it danced away from my expectations, like the fact that they didn't mull over the question of like, is he a replicant or not? They just very quickly said, yep.
the best thing that they ever did, I don't know if they said yet, but what they did do was they brought up those same things and they posed those same questions, and it didn't alter or fuck up the original at all in terms of like the lore or the story or anything. It's a perfect addition without like retroactively dumping on anything else, which was, I can say, when I walked in the theater, the only thing I cared about, honestly, was like, I'm seeing this, and all I hope is that it doesn't destroy anything about it.
I agree. That's pretty much how I walked into it. I mean, I felt it was a stretch that she gave live birth. I was like, what? How? Genetically? What? She has a manufacture code on her pelvis. Like, really?
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is a question I have for you guys. When I had always heard about Blade Runner before this, and even when I saw the movie, I had assumed that the replicants were actually like robotic, like they had some sort of robot parts, and they were just had like the flesh of a human.
They're
over them.
way more advanced than like the Terminator, which
So
I feel like is what you're thinking.
yeah, that's what I imagined in my head. In this one, they very clearly established like they are totally human. They just have like barcodes
The
on
new
their
model
bones.
is the original one. Presumably, whatever the first Nexus model was like whatever their prototype of like android human was. And then the first one, I think they're like on the Nexus 4 series or something. So there's bioengineering involved with it. Burp, 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 burp.
James looks like he's about to fall asleep.
Oh my god.
So grade the new Blade Runner. Aaron, what do you think?
A-.
A minus. Nice.
Yeah, give it an A minus.
Sure. B+,
A minus, B plus, A minus. A minus. A minus.
I wish that more people went to see it.
Yeah, me too. Instead of fucking Justice League. Vote with your dollars.
Nobody went to see
asshole
Justice
over
League
there.
anyways.
You're paying for more Justice League to show up.
I bought a ticket for Murder on the Orient Express when I saw Justice League. I'm not giving the idea of supporting Gal Gadot my money. Fuck that.
Nice.
We talked about this already.
Did anybody
love
see
that.
Murder in the Orient Express?
I've
Yes.
seen the old one. Have you seen the new one?
I saw the new one.
All right, let's talk about that one. What do you think?
It's fine.
We put in a call to Movie Pod recently,
Yeah.
and Carl
pitched it, right?
Carl pointed out the huge fucking plot hole.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I feel like the owner of Movie Pod is tapping into us a little bit too much.
Yeah, me too.
I have a question for Murder on the Orient Express fans.
You pointed at me.
Aaron. Big fan.
Why didn't they just throw his ass out of the moving train window? Done. You make it look like a suicide. You don't have to worry about any of this shit.
Because then you wouldn't have a movie.
I have a question. Why not update this story at all? So instead of rehashing the same revolutionary film noir plot point from a 30s novel made into a super famous 70s movie into this movie now, instead of just literally remaking it with your cast of bungling international stars so they can paint it as some god-awful portrait of artistic interpretation. What are we doing here? There's no reason to remake this. I was so mad when I saw the trailer for this. Absolutely.
You were mad.
horribly
point.
mad.
I
Remember
also
how
have a
mad I was?
question.
Yeah.
How does the greatest detective in the world, spoilers, not hear 16 people murder someone to death by stabbing them while he's sitting next door?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
16 people stab somebody?
Oh, it's like 11.
Why?
Yeah, I'm not even...
I don't even know
It's
how
not
many people are on
16.
this.
I'm
It's
offended that Aaron
It's about
said
11.
spoilers for a story that's like nearly 100 years old now. But yes, basically,
Why do they stab
spoiler alert, a whole bunch of people get together and they like plan to murder one person.
Why?
Because the
What's wrong
person
with
was bad.
Fucking assholes.
Oh, they're bad.
What, he was a
First was a bad guy.
gangster?
They're bad. He's a bad guy.
He was
They
a
killed bad guy.
gangster.
Why do they have to stab him? Why
killed
can't,
a
why can't they throw him
baby.
out the window?
Because they have an emotional reaction.
They all
And-
needed to see the life draining
Yeah.
from his eyes when they all stabbed him at the same time.
Why? Do all those people have like some kind of attachment to him? And
It's-
he's like ruined their life in some way?
Yeah,
Yep.
actually, yeah.
It's almost comical when it happens too, because they're in this tiny little train cabin and there's just 16 or 11, 14 people holding him down, each taking turns just stabbing him. And it was just like, they show them all shuffling into the room together.
Yeah.
They're just like, everyone's there, they're holding him down, like, eh. And then this detective is just sitting next door and he's like, huh.
And the detective is director star Kenneth Branagh, right?
What is he famous for? I feel like they play that up, that this famous guy is making this movie.
He was in
He's-
a lot of Shakespeare
Yeah, he's
adaptations.
directed and starred in a lot of Shakespeare adaptations, so
and
that's pretty good.
did stage work before and stuff. But I know him most pertinently from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, where he played Gilderoy Lockhart.
Had you guys seen the original movie?
No, I
Or
hadn't
knew
read
what
the book
happened,
or anything.
right?
Why did you go see it, James?
Because the honey baby wanted to see it.
Oh.
What did she think?
She liked it. I had no idea about the story, and so I had no idea how any of it goes. And so when I see the story developing, and they kill this guy and they leave him there, and a couple of sounds go off, and they make everybody like, and the train of course gets stopped.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the fuck would ever agree to this? Because
Apparently
imagine
11
this.
people.
Imagine that this is like a rehashing of our movie pod, but I like to do this. Imagine the five of us sitting here right now in this movie, in this podcast studio, decide we want to go kill somebody, right? Would you ever agree to a plot that keeps all of us in the spot on the murder scene with no chance of escaping and evidence everywhere? Or would you come up with a better plan to kill this motherfucker?
Only if
Making
we
it
bring
look like a
12
suicide.
more people in on this plan.
Yeah, I won't be content unless 20 people are stabbed.
You still have a chance of being considered the perpetrator.
To be moderately fair to this story, they did make a point at the beginning of the movie. They said, no, the whole train's full. There's no place for you. It's just us here.
To be moderately fair to the story, they should have not remade the movie. Since
Moving
they
on.
didn't need to. How would you grade it? Eh.
Eh.
B
That's an
minus.
E. That's an
B
eh.
minus.
B minus?
I'm sticking with an eh.
Eh.
Eh out of 10.
EH.
What have you seen recently? And was it with me?
Yes, I was just looking at movies that came out this year, and I really liked Baby Driver. Did you guys see
Oh,
Baby
yeah.
Driver?
Baby Driver.
No, I didn't see
Did
that.
not.
I thought it looked too much like Drive, and I was offended.
Oh.
It's better than Drive.
How could it be better than Drive? That movie's
It's
so
way
good.
better than Drive.
It looked way worse.
The editing and the direction of that movie is some of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's
It's-
really interesting.
It's just really well done.
Have you seen Edgar Wright's other movies?
Yeah.
Okay, because I
What
felt
else?
like I liked it, but that was the movie of his that I liked the least.
Really?
What else has he done?
He did Shaun of the Dead,
Oh,
Hot Fuzz,
okay.
The World's End, The End of the World, the one that's not the Pirates of
Yeah.
the Caribbean movie,
That world. Yeah.
and Scott Pilgrim.
See, and I was glad because this one felt like a departure from his normal shtick, which is just like very much that,
But he went just to
nerdcore
it.
crowd, and this was a kind of different.
That's why I liked it less. It felt like the first 10 minutes was an Edgar Wright movie, and then it just became a normal movie.
I liked it a lot because of the action sequences were really good, but the character emphasis was amazing, and the writing between all the secondary characters and everything was just so good.
And I loved the use of the music in it. I thought that was so powerful how they used the music and the choreography with all of it.
Yeah.
That's an Edgar Wright mainstay.
Yeah.
It's really been rewarding to see, and we watched that weird HBO show the one time that did this too, but to see like real arts and trades being practiced in movies again, I don't know if that's been a thing or not. Seeing it recently has made me feel really good because they have this lead character who's like this incredible dancer who can like, he's doing all this crazy stuff, but he's like a magnificent dancer. I'm like, that's so cool that they would actually hire somebody who can actually, dance, probably dedicated, time in their life, like learning something like that. And we saw that in the other show, and I've always thought that was so dumb when I see movies about magic and they fucking CG everything in the movie. I'm like, call up any fucking magician or anybody out in the world and inform your goddamn movie for like 1 second so that you have anything that looks reasonable in it instead of all this CG garbage.
I didn't realize you were part of the Magicians League.
Oh, you didn't? That's why there's not decks of cards all around.
I knew you were a
My
magician.
home.
I didn't know you were part of the league.
Not part of the league. I'm a loner magician.
You're rogue.
The most dangerous kind. Anyway, so
Rogue magician.
that's another reason I like Baby Driver. What else?
We watched The Big Sick. You guys saw
Mhm.
it?
Big Sick.
I haven't seen it yet.
Did
I'm
you
gonna
see
watch
it?
Didn't see it.
That was my favorite movie of the year.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
I don't know if there's a whole lot to say about it. It was
Yeah.
just a really funny, engaging, heart-filled movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
It's like the true story of this comedian who's been in a lot of stuff recently, and it's his girlfriend at the time, right?
Yeah, I'm not
Wait,
sure
no,
how much
don't-
of it.
Yeah, don't worry about
spoilers.
it. Shut your yaps.
I'm gonna watch it.
I'm not sure how much of it is their real story and how much of it is like the based on a true story, but not really the true story.
Yeah.
The sort of
Yeah. Well, the writing
Take
was
it.
a little weak at a couple points, and I was like, that's surprising, but it was
really
enjoyable.
good, though.
It's
Yeah.
good. You should watch it.
Yeah.
All right. What else have we seen recently?
I saw The Disaster Artist the other night.
Was it good?
It was pretty good. It's so if you guys don't know, Disaster Artist is the
I know what it is.
All right,
Andrea
and
speaks
everyone
for
on
all
the
the
podcast
listeners.
knows exactly.
They know exactly. The story of the making of The Room, right?
So for everyone who isn't Andrea,
It has James
What is The
Franco in
Room?
it, and
It
his
is-
brother.
The
the
Room
story
is the Citizen Kane of bad movies.
it is the story of the
Why the
making of
Guard
the
is the
worst,
worst movie
movie
ever.
that has ever existed.
But wait, isn't the room with
No,
I'm
you're
thinking
thinking
of
of something
Panic
else. You have
You're
no
thinking
idea
of
what The Room
Room,
is.
not The Room.
Oh.
Room.
All right.
So it's James Franco and his brother being the director of The Room, Tommy Wiseau, and his friend Greg. And it tells the story of how they get to making The Room. And it does a really good job of like showing you that Tommy Wiseau is a crazy person, but also showing like that he's got humanity, which I didn't expect. And his impersonation of Tommy Wiseau is incredible. Or actually, so humble brag, I guess. I don't know. The screening I went to, James Franco did a Q&A there for a couple of minutes. And while he was answering questions...
Was he painting the whole time, too?
No, but
Writing
he
a
was
novello
painting with his
or
words
something?
because he would drop into the Tommy Wiseau accent and just without any effort at all, just be like, oh yeah, so and do the Tommy Wiseau thing perfectly. And so it was fun just to see that.
And a good impersonation. That's good.
He doesn't quite have the facial expressions right because it's hard to make your face look like a rock.
Like an alien? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know what's become of Tommy Wiseau? Is he still
He's made
with us?
tens of dollars from the success of his movie.
He just got
Reactions
I
to
just
the
read
movie?
I just read a little article that was about a pilot of a TV show that he just made, and he was trying to describe what was going on, and the person was trying to have a conversation with them. Oh my god, everybody should look this up if you're even interested in this at all, because he sounds the interview is incoherent. It's crazy. Like, he sounds insane, which he probably is. But it's absolute insanity.
The conspiracy theory is that Tommy Wiseau is actually a vampire.
Oh, that sounds plausible.
And it's probably the most plausible conspiracy theory that has ever existed. Because he seems like someone stuck out of time with a weird Eastern European accent that you can't place and a brain that doesn't seem to be human.
So, Disaster Artist good?
Yes.
Excellent. Andre, have you seen anything else recently?
I saw Ingrid Goes West.
How was that?
It was good, actually. It really hit home, to be
Yeah?
honest. Because
Tell us what it was about.
it's Audrey Plaza from Parks and Rec, and she plays a young girl who's lost her mother, and she obsesses about influencers on Instagram. It's pretty much a movie about Instagram.
Wow.
And
James, ears perking up?
and she becomes obsessed with this one person, and she infiltrates herself into their life, and then it's intense, but it's not like a thriller in any way. It's not like what is it, Single White Female or whatever. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of a story about how people are these days, and they like put all of their emotions, and they think they know people on social media, but really the person is just a person,
Right.
and they're not going to be your best friend, and they don't really care about you, and they're just like, they don't have to either, and I don't know, it was good.
It's a dark comedy, right?
It's a dark comedy, and humble brag, Audrey Plaza was there and did a Q&A after the movie.
How the fuck is saying that you attended a screening where the creator of the movie was also there bragging? You didn't do jack shit. Like, oh, humble brag, I
That's
bumped
the
into...
joke. That's why I'm making a joke of that.
Oh,
Because
alright.
that is a comedy podcast.
I don't know.
It's
Who
great comedy
decided
podcast.
that? Since when?
Humble brag.
Alright.
That sounds good. And in this day and age now, I feel like that's really important. I've been reading a lot about the shock that people are experiencing when they're like, oh no, my idol turned out to be like this pedophile sexual predator, that was been just ever present in media or television for so long, and how shocked people are about that. Like, I was reading something about like Kevin Spacey, and how everybody was just like, oh, I couldn't even believe it. Oh my god. And it's like, I think people just forget that people are human, especially when the only way they observe them is through like the television, or like, what do you expect that,
You don't really know that person.
right?
Yeah.
You don't know a fucking thing about Matt Lauer or Harvey Weinstein or any of these people,
I don't think I knew a single thing about Harvey Weinstein before
I didn't
that
either.
turned up.
And now I could even give less shits about it.
I'm going to quote George Carlin, someone I quote very often. I often quote him on the podcast if people are fucking dumb.
Yes.
But here's another
great
George
for
Carlin
that.
quote. Aren't you sick and tired of being told who your heroes ought to be? And so, in other words, there's a very easy solution to this, and that is, don't idolize anybody. Idolize ideas, idolize movements, idolize thoughts and actions that are good. But the minute you put someone on a pedestal, you're just setting them up for, I don't know, like, don't fucking idolize a person. Simple as that. Hey, did you do
There's a lot of
something
truth.
good?
There's a lot of
Alright,
truth to that.
good. Good. Keep doing the good thing.
Keep doing the good
I'll
thing.
pay attention as you keep doing the good thing, but I mean, it's the root of just the ridiculousness of sports fanaticism, and then you have to do mental gymnastics to rationalize why you like Tom Brady even though he's a Trump supporter. You're like,
The cognitive dissonance.
yeah, you have to
of
do
the
all this. You
reality
have to do all this like weird
yeah.
mental compartmentalization. Like, fuck it, don't worship anybody.
Right.
You know, simple as that.
Movie news. With that, we're out of time.
Fuck Lance Armstrong and fuck Tiger Woods. That's he says that too.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
like
it.
it's beautiful. You know, like
Yeah.
fuck those guys.
That's the mantra of this podcast.
Oh, you ride a bike? Fuck out of here. Oh, you ride a bike? Oh, you hit a little ball around? Fuck out of here, man.
That's why we do what we do. Loud on Set with Kyle and James. And today, Aaron, Andrea, and Kira. Thanks everybody for being here. Talking about movie news. Did you see any movies recently? Were they good? Did they suck? Let us know. loudontheset@gmail.com. There you have it. Send us some of your favorites. Let us know what's up in the movie world. Have a wonderful time.
See you later.
It's a real comedy podcast. It's great.
It's a good podcast. Oh, hi, Mark.
And cut.